up, gamers? This is NGG here with another review video. This time it is for Haven for the Nintendo Switch. I'm going to be recording this with my partner in crime.
Hey everyone, my name is Devine Cummings voice acting, also known as Minako 97 anime news on YouTube, and I'm happy to be a part of this review with NGG here today.
Alright, so we played this game together. This unfortunately is not an online game, and so we had to do it in local co-op, which I'm sure is fine for some people, but I like to play a lot of my games online, and this one does not have online. So we definitely had to do this local co-op. So if you are interested in getting this game after this review, know that this game was definitely not a game that you can play online with somebody. So we are going to go over story, gameplay, and then we're going to give you a review for the game. And so let's start off with story. So the game starts you right off on the island and the world of Source. And so these two lovers came from their home world of Truth into the world of Source, and they are definitely runaways. And in the very beginning, you can tell like they're already acclimating themselves to this new world, but they're runaways. They're not supposed to be in this world, and they are trying to find resources in this new world so that they can live, because they do not want to be in their home world. They have run away because in their home world they have something called a matchmaker or a matchmaking system where everybody is matched up with a mate, and they were none too happy about it. They did not want to be matched up with who the matchmaker matched them up with. They wanted to be matched up with they wanted to be with each other and not matched. So in their world, definitely that is a thing, and so they're afraid of being hunted and afraid of being caught. So they are trying to hide out in this world because they do not want to go back to their home world and have to be matched up. And that is like the gist of the story, that they're trying to find resources and all that junk. And it's truly a love story because you see them, they're like, not Romeo and Juliet, because Romeo and Juliet died, but these two run away together to be with each other, and now they have to be on this world together and try to make things work because this world doesn't have a lot of the stuff that they grew up with and know how to use. There's no way for them to really contact the outside world because they're trying to stay hidden. Now let's get into gameplay. I will let you take on the gameplay, and then I will piggyback if there's anything I felt that we didn't discuss.
Yeah, no, that'll work. So gameplay wise, it's a very different experience. So gameplay, it's a combination of like a turn-based RPG mixed in with like farming elements. So what you would essentially do, there's no split screen by the way, but essentially what you would do is you would traverse through like different stages and flow states of the areas, and you would collect things like apple brew and like other different types of like seeds and pills and other different types of ingredients, along with vegetables, fruits, things of that nature. Along with that, you will get thrown into like random battles of animals that have been infected by this stuff called rust. And what rust does, it kind of controls and basically it manipulates the living creatures along the different stages and different flow stages of areas you will traverse to. So you'll get into like combat, which is like, and you'll have stuff like burst, which is like blast, and then you'll have impact, which is physical attacks, along with stuff like shields, which either guards you or your ally or whoever you're partnered up with. And then later on you'll get to stuff like healing, and then other attacks like hitting enemies all at once and stuff of that nature. So gameplay wise, it's a collaboration of RPG mechanics or turn-based RPG mechanics mixed in with like farming sims, and then not to mention you'll have relationships throughout the game. Gameplay wise, throughout the game, you and Kay will have conversations either amongst each other, rather it be going inside abandoned buildings or combat, or when you're resting at the nest, for example, which is like kind of their hideout hub world area. And depending on they'll have conversations amongst themselves, and depending on if you make the right choice, it's very subjective. There is no right choice, but depending on what choice you pick, whichever one feels the most confident, that will also attribute to the ending, or towards the ending of the game, who is the most confident and who made the most right choices between the characters throughout you and Kay's, conversations and interaction throughout the many traversal areas you'll experience through the game.
Right. So just to piggyback off of some of the stuff you were saying, the movement in this game, like you said, is using flow. So you're gliding on these glide boots for most of the game. And for me, I had a hard time, because you're supposed to follow the line and the curvature wherever that flow, because that's what it is called in this game, is flow. And so you're gliding on these flow lanes. And for me, I had a hard time gliding on them. And you had to literally take over the reign. The only thing I don't like, to be fair, is that there's not multiple movement. Only one person is controlling the character, at the two characters at a time. Minus in battle, then you can control your own. And in conversation, you can't really control your own. You could. What we did for conversations is you picked what you wanted for the male character you were playing, and I picked what I wanted, and then the other person would go and pick the same thing, because you couldn't have two opposite choices. You had to have only one choice, and so both of you had to pick the same choice. Anyway, in the movement, I would have to let you take over to follow the flow, because I couldn't follow it. These really sharp turns to get into high places. So I had a problem with the movement and the moving in this game. It looked nice, to be fair, when you're watching it, and when I would watch you do it, I was like, oh, that looks so nice. I wish I could move like that. So there's that. There's also I like that in the battle sequence, like you were talking about, where there's impact and burst, they had double impact and double burst, so you could do 2 attack charge at once. And the only thing is that you couldn't pick who you were attacking, which I didn't like. I would like to have us have picked the same person, so we can knock one person down, and then you have to pacify the person you knocked down, because in this game you're not killing anybody, you're pacifying them. Or if you're fighting a hornet, you're overloading the circuits. So you're not really killing anything in this game. And I did enjoy the battle sequence, and the way they made it hard was some of the enemies you would have to hit with one, you'd have to hit it with a burst and then come back and hit it with an impact once it was dizzy. And I did like that battle system where both of you are having to work together to bring down the enemies, and that was super nice. At least I thought that was super nice. What else did we do? There were the campsites where there were more story sequences, as well as not just in the nest, which is their home world. You had story sequences outside the campsite, and you would have to cook. Oh, the cooking. So we didn't think cooking was important in this game. And we found out the hard way that it is, because if you want to have if we want to attack together, the hungrier we were, the less smaller the scale was for us to hit it, because you have to hit it at precise moment at the same time to be able to attack together, and that percentage would go real small if either of these people were hungry. So you had to feed them. And so there was a couple of things that I didn't like, besides not being able to control my time on the floor.
So kind of towards the end of the game, essentially, when other things get introduced that I won't go into, there was an area where it was completely covered in rust. It's called rust. The red air, the red crystals are called rust. There was an area that was completely covered in rust, and and it wasn't a one-time occurrence. It happened twice. The second time we didn't save because we didn't want it to crash, but the times we did save and take a screenshot, it was covered in rust. And the problem with that is you're trying to find parts for the nest, or you're trying to find just regular rust to clear the area, and it happened on 2 occasions. And then there was another time before that where I was trying to use a healing item, and then it was do you want to do co-op or single player? And then the game just didn't boot up, along with long loading screens on, just on top of just playing the Switch version. But yeah, that entire area being covered with rust was not fun at all, along with other bugs along the way.
Yeah, there were the few bugs that we ran into, the game breaking bugs, which I was hoping at this point in the game, it's like, 2 years old? I was hoping by now all bugs would be fixed, so I wouldn't have to worry about. That's why I don't play my games right away. I wait for bugs and patches and all that jazz. I do want to mention that going from world to world, because you're in one big world, but the world is like broken in pieces, and you're going to like these mini little lands on the world. Those also are loading screens. So you could be in this one place and need to go 2 or 3 little lands ahead, and you gotta load through each little landmass to go to the place that you need to go. They do have fast travel though, eventually in the game, where you can skip all of that, but their fast travel isn't like instantaneous. You have to like feed this animal to fast travel. So like if you don't want to hold the resources you need for the day, but not have to worry about like feeding this thing to fast travel, then you're apt. So there's that. You want to go over review score now? If you want to give it a rating?
Yeah, so I would give Haven a 3 out of 5. It's fun. It's not a terrible game. It's very creative, especially when you get towards the end game part, along with the confident meter, I guess, even though you can't really see it, the confidence between K and U, kind of the story stuff that takes place towards the end of the game, essentially. The reason why I give it a 3 and not a 5, because while I didn't have a terrible time with it, I did feel like this game, I am playing a game of something that I feel like I'm playing a game of a book I haven't read before, and I said that a lot during playing the game. They like throw like all these like terms and all these terms and all these like different phrasing of like, like of the planet, of the stuff that they've been on and experience. The only problem is that like while their story, like, between K and U, while them as characters get fleshed out as you're playing, the world building doesn't. So you're kind of like left out as a player, like, oh, okay, I'm supposed to understand this even though it's brand new for me. And like that's kind of like, that's kind of like up in the air, it's whatever. But I feel like the gameplay itself gets very repetitive. Even when new things get introduced towards the end, it kind of just feels like either lackluster, or you're kind of just like, I just want this game to be over and done with. But regardless, the game was fun. I do like the choices that you can make, free will, and being able to make your own choices and make your own decisions. Finding the pieces of the nest or the ship were very fun. It's very, you have free range to do whatever you want to, and it's up to you deciding, how you find the pieces, what choices you make. It's your own volition, which is very, fun and exciting. And along with, the ending, there being multiple endings and multiple outcomes is what determines why I give Haven a 3 out of 5 as a whole.
Right. All right. So, with my score, I'm going to say I give it a 3.5. And the reason I give it a 3.5 is because I kind of thought that the story wasn't complete. I thought there was going to be more happening than did. So for me, that was a little lackluster. Like I expected this huge ending, and I got, the ending was okay. We got the good ending, right? We off the bat got the good ending. But I was expecting something more, I guess. And then like they were hyping it up, and they were so afraid something was gonna happen, and it just never came to fruition. So so the lackluster ending was that for me. And then like you said, the gameplay was a bit repetitive. Like I like going into different areas, but they didn't make the different areas seem different enough for it to feel like you were in a different little mini world that had been cut off from the main world. So I didn't like that. But overall, like I enjoyed the decision makings. This is definitely a adult game, if I haven't said so already. Definitely adult content, so do not play if you are under 17. I think it's definitely a mature game because of the adult content on it, and the adult content was they would allude to a lot more than they would actually. They rarely showed anything. But they would definitely allude to a lot more. So 3.5 out of 5 for me. I enjoyed the game, just not enough, especially with the game breaking glitches that brought it down for me. It would have been a 4 had the glitches been out, but because they were game breaking glitches, like that would completely cut off our save and we'd have to reload back up. That wasn't fun. So you want to give us your exit ticket on the way out?
Yeah, sure. So again, my name is Devine Cummings, voice acting on YouTube. You can find all of my social medias in the description of this video, as well as very other videos that we've collaborated and done together. But thank you so much, NGG, for having me today. I greatly appreciate it. And thanks for having me once again.
It was a pleasure having you on. Thanks for joining us. And I hope you guys enjoy this review. Let us know if this is something you are interested in this game. If you've played it, what you thought about it. Otherwise, happy gaming, guys. Bye.